task force this year. But we begin tonight's program talking about one of the probably best well-known investments that the retirement systems of Alabama has made in the last 25 years, the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. There's a beautiful new book coming out about its history. It's called The Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Its History and Economic Impact, and its author is Mark Fagan. Mark, welcome to Capital Journal.
Good to see you, Don.
Nice to see you. Congratulations on the new book.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it. I only spent 22 years watching this project roll out and following the news clippings weekly, visiting the sites, playing all the golf holes, and it also includes the eight hotels owned by RSA and the 5 spas. And then we also look at the ancillary developments of the 8,000 houses and the hundreds of $1 million in commercial space. And we look at the $1 billion worth of free publicity that project has gotten from the $2 billion in Raycom television stations and $1 billion in community newspaper holdings, for which their investment included the free publicity.
It's a beautiful book. It is expected to be out at the 1st of May. I mentioned at the outset that we've been taking a real close look this year at pension reform, and some are taking an even closer look at the investments that are involved in the RSA and our pension programs. The Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail was never designed, to be an investment that was big on return. It was a targeted economic investment, and it has been hugely successful. Do you not conclude in that arena?
We had been researching up at Jacksonville State University, where I've worked 33 years. We had researched the economic development for rural areas, alternatives to smokestack chasing and the silicon chip sweepstakes.
Right.
And we found that Alabama had what tourists and retirees were looking for. And we realized that in order to have economic development, you have to get money to the area. And you can either produce something and sell it through manufacturing or agriculture, or you can just have people bring money to you, and therefore the tourism and retirement industries. So we felt like we had moderate 4-season climate, a lot of friendly people, and a lot of natural beauty. So Dr. Bronner decided to launch this golf trail. And it was originally conceived of 7 sites, 4 54-hole facilities, 3 36-hole facilities, all to be connected in a trail so that it could be promoted to bring golfers from the Midwest in the winter months when their courses were frozen and closed, or from California and around the world. And they brought in the most prolific golf course architect at that time. It's worked on over 400 courses around the world, 45 states, 35 countries. Robert Trent Jones Sr., who was 84 in 1990 and already been working 60 years roughly in the field. So it has blossomed into 11 sites, 26 golf courses, 8 resort hotels. Once they got the golf courses built, most of these were built between 1990 and 93, and then another one, Capitol Hill, started in 97, Lakewood down at the Grand Hotel in 99, and then the Shoals and Ross Bridge, 04 and 05. So added to gradually. The hotels, 5 new ones were built, 3 were remodeled, and there are 2,065 hotel rooms involved. Add in the recent publicity, but the structuring of the initial investment included forming Sunbelt Golf, and the construction had to be done quickly. So, but the other point is there were thousands of people, all the local politicians, and none were involved to help with the access roads and the utilities. None of the land was paid for, which created value for RSA initially. The land was either donated fee simple by developers looking to develop the housing around it, or leased for $1 a year for 80 years by the local municipalities. So the project was a participatory planning model, and it incorporated people so that it was their property and not just RSA's property.
And here we are 25 years later. It is a worldwide known golf trail. It has generated tens of millions of dollars in tax revenues to this state. It has rejuvenated the tourism industry in this state, and it has probably more than paid for itself in terms of being an economically targeted investment for our pension program.
The impact from that initial spending, I'm estimating somewhere around $4 billion. The RSA invested somewhere around $770 million. If you look at all the golf courses and the hotels, that's 26 golf courses. And then you look at the $4 billion that was spent on construction, you get an $8.5 billion economic impact. And the tax revenue generated from that initial spending more than covered the initial investment by RSA. But what you had is, and you have, is a tourism infrastructure in place that's perpetually generating tax revenue as these tourists come in to bring their money and spend it in Alabama and create jobs.
Indeed.
So there has been hundreds of millions of dollars created in the second wave of this, which is every year you have $9 billion more dollars in tourism spending than you had in 1990. And so the sales taxes, the lodging taxes. Okay, then you have the induced impacts, which are the employees that work for all the primary industries and the supplying industries. And we're talking about construction, finance, real estate, healthcare, recreation. Those are the types of jobs. And of course, those people go out and spend money. And so that's what determines the economic impact. But there have been tens of billions of dollars in extra money spent in Alabama by tourists since 1990.
The book is The Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Its History and Economic Impact. It's by Mark Fagan, and it'll be out in early May. Mark, congratulations.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you for being on the show today.